What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we'll be talking about Port Adelaide's unfortunate loss to Essendon in round 4. That happened yesterday on Sunday, so let's have a look and see exactly what went wrong for the Power and how the game panned out. It's not the game we wanted, Port fans, is it? It's not the one that we thought maybe it would eventuate differently. We went down by 22 points against the Bombers in what was a frustrating affair to watch, really. Port Adelaide Footy Club didn't really put a lot of pressure on, especially in the first half, and we were just playing catch-up the whole day, so unfortunately couldn't get the job done. But on the positive note, we're still in the top 8, 5th on the ladder. We are 3-1 with a decent percentage of 117%, so it's not all bad as people seem. First thing as well, I know we shouldn't make excuses on the game itself, but I feel like last week's unfortunate events may have had an impact mentally on the side, hence the reason for such a poor start. The Bombers were all over Port in that first quarter, conceding 5 goals to 2, and we're just playing catch-up the whole day. So I think last week's was mentally draining, and I think not cutting some slack for the players, because obviously you've got to stand up on game day no matter what, and you are a professional footballer. But it would have had some impact, no doubt. The players would have been just, sick of the questions about Sam Powell-Pepper and all these expectations, and it just would have been an overload for them. Another point was made as well about no warm-ups now, obviously before the first game, and our starts have been quite poor, so maybe the warm-ups not being on the ground as long, not having a proper adjudicated warm-up might affect the team a bit. This game was essentially lost in the first quarter, and I feel like it was the same as last year. Inconsistent throughout the day. When we tried to get a run on, it didn't eventuate. And every time we did get a run on, we cost ourselves a chance, because we'd either muck up the opportunity inside 50, we didn't take our opportunities, we'd be passing short when there should be a 30-metre set shot, and we're trying to get it as close to the goals as possible. It's not soccer. You're not trying to tap it in at the end. Have the set shot, and Robbie Gray is a perfect example of that. He had his opportunities yesterday, and he really didn't take them 30 metres out. And yeah, tailored opportunities throughout the day. 12 goals, 12 in the end. We're 4 goals, 7 at half time. We kicked 8 goals, 5 after half time, which, at stages we were 40 points down. We were playing catch up. And I feel like yesterday, with that mentality issue that I stated before with starting the game, it carried on throughout the day, and I think we more so expected things to happen, which is something that we've been caught out a few times doing. Perfect example was this game exactly last year, where we just expected it to happen, didn't happen, we got run over badly. This year, not so much. We had our opportunities and we started to work into the game a bit more, but every time we did, as I said, our skill errors, our chances we didn't take, and I think expecting those things to happen cost us, especially in the middle. A lot of people have been bringing up the ruck issue as well. I don't think it would have helped much yesterday, to be honest. I think Dougal Howard did a good job. We only lost the hit-outs total by 7 in the end, but our clearances we won. When we had our chances, we bombed away. We didn't lower our eyes. We didn't take what we had. We had our opportunities. We had good opportunities at stages, and we didn't take them. That's the big issue there, is the fact that we bombed away. Essendon hit their targets well. We had more efficiency going inside 50. We had 53% to 51%. So we won that aspect of the game, but we didn't. Our transition footy broke down. We just kicked to the wing. We were bombing away. We weren't looking. We weren't taking and setting targets. We were just playing like a lower rate team. Now, just on that ruck issue, 46 to 39 hit-outs yesterday. 45 of those 46 from Essendon was from Bell Chambers, so he was in the ruck most of the day and did dominate. They did score a lot of goal from stoppages. I think that was more the fact that our midfield didn't work, weren't switched on, they weren't around the contest, and they weren't hard enough around the contest, and it showed, especially inside 50. 14 inside 50 tackles to 5. Essendon put the pressure on and didn't let us take our opportunities, and didn't give us freedom. They strangled us. They tackled. They had pressure. They were onto us from the start, and we were just left playing catch up. And that's not the kind of footy we want to play. And we got to dictate the way we play. We got to dictate the game, because if things are going against us, that's when we struggle. We've got to be mentally strong in that aspect, and we weren't yesterday. and there's no denying that. As the first loss of the year, it's probably a little more dramatic than we think, a little less dramatic as we think. Is what I meant. And I think the dramatisation from fans is a little dull, to be honest, because you can't. It's our first loss of the year. We've got to remember that. People are saying, "Oh, waste of the year." It's 2018. It's round bloody 4, man. Can't be making up these accusations because we made a mistake at selection. Which, yeah, maybe we should have brought in a ruck. But if Ken's saying that he's not ready, if Billy's not ready, or if Peter Adams isn't ready, Sam Hayes is definitely not ready. He's a first-year ruckman. We can't be bringing in those players just to fill a gap so our structure stays together. It starts from the top. The ruckman is the top priority in the team. So that's how the structure starts. You go ruck all the way down. Sure, you have your forwards that kick the goals. You have the defenders who man on the best forwards in the league and try and defend the goals. All of that is most important, but the ruckman sets the tone of the game. You can't have a 21, 22-year-old raw ruckman who doesn't set the tone. You can't throw a kid in there just to keep a structure for the rest of the team. That's not right. You've got to prioritise these things, and if they're not ready, they're not ready. As simple as that. They set the tone of the game, ruckman. And if you've got Bell Chambers or Stephen Martin still winning those hitouts, even though we've got Billy playing in that position, there's no difference, is there? You're still going to lose that contest. And it's just unfortunate that yesterday was once again that situation. And yeah, maybe we should have targeted a ruckman in the off-season. But the main thing is, we didn't. And now we've got to, go to plan B. And that's what we're doing with Dixon, Westhoff and Howard. And to be honest, I want to put this to you, Port fans. Do you think that Jack Homp should come into the side, play as that defender, Dougal Howard has a permanent ruck? Is that an option? Can we do that? I mean, yeah, maybe we can. Maybe to keep that structure that people are talking about and that structure that works so well against Fremantle, it did. We had this plan B structure that worked really well against the Swans. Didn't so much against Brisbane. And yesterday, obviously, of course, we didn't either. So, do we change who comes in, change our personnel? And does that work that way? Let me know in the comments below, because I think it's a fair idea to have. And if we're not exactly, going to have a specialised ruckman come in, why not work around that? Why not try and figure out different ways to do so instead of throwing someone like Westhoff in the ruck who, hasn't done it for a while. Dougal Howard's not a specialised ruckman. Dixon's got his ankle worries. You've got all these issues. What do you do? It's such a hard thing to work around. And in saying that, obviously, it's about how we play. It's not who plays. So it wasn't just the ruck issue that we had yesterday. Alright, here are the votes. We've got to line up a bit, Port fans. Come on. It's only the first loss of the year. We're only in round 4. And it's a big game next week against the Geelong Cats at the Fortress. So we've got to be fine. It'll be fine. Let's have a look at the votes. 3 votes for a win, a loss, and 5 votes for a win for the pair votes. That's how it works. 1 vote goes to Justin Westhoff. He was pretty good yesterday in the ruck when he went in there. He had 19 disposals, kicked a goal, and he had the 5 hit-outs, but he was really good around the ground as well, and he really tried his absolute hardest in what was a pretty dull day, to be honest, from players' point of view. There wasn't a lot of standouts. And these are a little bit different from what some people are saying, but I feel these guys had their impact. 2 votes goes to Tommy Jonas. He was terrific in defence yesterday. He had his 9 marks. He had 17 disposals himself. He had 12 1%ers, so that's a fair effort down back. And he also nearly kicked a goal too, I'm pretty sure, if I was right. But yeah, not bad from Tommy Jonas in the defence. He's playing a pretty good year so far. And 3 votes goes to Robbie Gray. Who else would get the 3 votes when you have 39 possessions? Albeit they were quite a lot of handballs in there. 5 marks, 4 tackles, and he kicked a point. But he had 10 clearances, which is good to see him playing a lot more midfield time, especially when you've got players like Rockcliffe who are playing a different role. So that's giving Robbie Gray a bit more freedom. And he's looking very, very good this year so far. So Robbie's got to keep it up. And yeah, they're the unfortunate votes for round 4. Well, there you have it, Port fans. It's going to be a very depressing week considering we have lost, because we don't know what losing's like this year, besides the JLT game we had. I don't know how to feel. It's odd, but round 5, Geelong at the Adelaide Oval for Anzac Round. It's going to be a very exciting game and look forward to seeing all of you down there. Tune into the Portraits Podcast 8 p.m. on Wednesday night. Thank you everyone for tuning in on Spreaker. If you are not watching, you are listening, so thank you very much for the support through there. And Port Fan Radio, check it out because we've got all the channels running this week with the reviews. We've got our AFB on there. We've got obviously the Portraits Podcast and the Thursday night preview as well. My name is Anthony Port Fan. Thank you very much for watching, and count the pair.